Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be comparing two luxury powders. Cle De Peau has reformulated their loose powder, and we are going to be comparing it to my absolute favorite Holy Grail powder, the Guerlain Gold Skin Micro Diamond Powder. This has been a longtime favorite of mine. I fell in love with this the first time that I've used it, and I have not found anything that even comes close until now. So if you want to see how these two powders stack up against each other, which one might be best for you, stay right there. Let's get into it. I want to start by comparing the packaging. In my opinion, they're both beautiful. The Guerlain definitely feels heavier. It feels more substantial, a little thicker, a little bit more luxurious, if I'm being completely honest. Packaging, I have to give it to Guerlain. It feels like a luxury powder. This just doesn't, in my opinion. It's just kind of lightweight plastic. This is just a heavier plastic, if that matters. It does come with a puff, and then it's got these vents here. A typical standard loose powder. Packaging is not anything special or unique. When I want to use this, I tap it out into the lid and then, work from a brush and go from there. The Cle De Peau also has a puff, and this has a different type of packaging. So this is dirty because I have used this. This is not my first impression. This puff is really nice. Both puffs are really nice. Like, they're very thick, very nice. But the Cle De Peau comes with this plastic cover that has to be put on the right way. Like, you can't just throw it on. This little indent here has to fit on this little indent here. So it can be a little bit fussy to put the lid back on. I like the lid. I almost wish it popped off instead of coming completely off, because then I have to set this on my counter. It's a little more clunky, the packaging, in my opinion. However, you don't have to tap anything out here because it has this beautiful net you can press into and get the powder. It's a little bit fidgety to me, this packaging situation doesn't keep me from loving and using this. It's just something that I want to mention. Another thing that I want to mention is the amount of product that you get in each of these. In the Guerlain, you get 1.2 ounces. In the Cle De Peau, you get 0.84 ounces. So you do get more in this one than this one. This one, you get a lot of powder. This is a lot of powder. I mean, I think that it might be the biggest powder that I know of. Let me know, I'm probably wrong. I have worn these so many different times. Guerlain, as you know, is like pretty much my holy grail powder. So I'm going to tap a little bit in the lid. Just taking a very small powder brush. I have two of these, so I will be using a different one for the Cle De Peau. I'm going to set under my eyes first, and then, all of my face. Okay, I have a different brush. I'm going to go into the Cle De Peau. For the purposes of this video, I set my entire face. I typically don't. I typically set the T-zone. I wanted to set everywhere just so we could look at a completely powdered complexion, top to bottom. What I see when I use these powders is quite surprising to me, because the Guerlain to me is such a perfecting, beautiful, like velvety, smooth powder. The texture of it is different to most any powders that I have felt. It's very airy. It almost like fluffs away, and it just kind of sets on the skin in that manner. Just beautiful airbrush finish, right? It's not super mattifying. It's not super heavy. Neither of these are detectable on the skin. You cannot see either of these up close 10 times magnification. They're invisible. The Cle De Peau feels creamier. Like, between the fingers, it feels like a creamy powder. The Guerlain does not. It does not feel like a cream at all. It feels like a powder. It feels like a fluffy, like I said, airy type powder that just kind of floats onto the skin. The Cle De Peau feels like a creamy, like it almost even translates on the face as creamier. I'm really kind of surprised by my feelings on the Cle De Peau. I almost also feel like the Cle De Peau is slightly more blurring than the Guerlain. The Guerlain kind of takes on the texture of your skin and just looks completely skin-like. You really can't tell that you've powdered your face, except it is set and maybe slightly mattified. It does take away some of the glow, but it just kind of adapts to your skin texture and whatever is happening underneath it. The Cle De Peau is a little bit more blurring, a little bit more pore smoothing, and it looks a little bit smoother under the eyes. Keep in mind, this is splitting hairs, right? The Guerlain might feel slightly more velvety, smooth. Yeah, the Guerlain side feels just a little bit more like velvety. I don't know how to explain that. That's the only word that I can think of is velvety. And the Cle De Peau feels a little more creamy. I don't know if you can see, but this is Cle De Peau Guerlain. It's just ever so slightly more smoothing, just that little touch more smoothing. I'm very surprised that I like this as much as I do, and that I see just a hint more perfecting on the Cle De Peau side, because as you know, I absolutely love this Guerlain powder. I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup and we will come back and touch more on these two powders and the differences. I'll be right back. We are back. I've obviously got the rest of my makeup on. I'm going to look at this up close and see how everything went on top of these two powders. I'm going to guess it's been about an hour, maybe a little bit more since I've had these powders on my face. I filmed another video. This look will be up soon if it's not already. So let me just tell you what I'm seeing at this point. Up close, 10 times magnification. This under eye still looks smoother and has less creasing than this under eye, which is very surprising to me. Now, keep in mind, when I say creasing, it's minimal. I'm looking at it at 10 times magnification. I don't think it's anything that you can see at this distance, and it's not something that I can see when I look in my mirror. This is the RMS concealer. It doesn't typically crease on me. So I'm going to call it settling and not creasing. It is not settling on this side, and it is settling on this side. I have no settling in either of my smile lines on either side. I do still feel like this side looks slightly smoother overall than the Guerlain side. I'm surprised by this. Saying this hurts me because I love the Guerlain so much. It's such an exceptional powder in my opinion, but I do feel like here, having them on side by side, this side just looks slightly smoother. Do you see that? Are you seeing that? And then this side, let me move my hair. I mean, this side still looks great, right? Like the Guerlain powder is a beautiful, beautiful setting powder. I just think this one looks ever so slightly better. Now, we will see how it wears. I'm going to try to do a wear test and come back and see how it looks after several hours. The Cle De Peau side, you can see under my eyes, there is no creasing. It's still wearing absolutely beautifully, like no creasing whatsoever. This is the RMS concealer, and it's so good. This is the Guerlain side, and you can see, I mean, at least I'm hoping that you can, there is a little bit of settling in the creases here that isn't here. Now, the rest of it looks the same to me. I'm hard pressed to see a difference. I mean, I am wearing a highlight, so you can see my pores, and I am a human person, so I have pores. My forehead, both sides, I think look the same. Maybe a little bit more glow on the Cle De Peau side overall. So let's talk about the shade. Cle De Peau only has two shades, light and light medium. There is not a deep option. Having said that, and I'm not trying to make excuses for a brand. Hopefully you know me. I will not do that. If you look at it all kind of gathered up on my finger, I mean, it looks pretty much like a white powder. It doesn't look like that on the skin though. So I do think that these are translucent shades. I think that multiple skin tones could wear this light powder. Of course, if you build it up and try to maybe bake with it or something, it's going to do a little bit of brightening. I don't notice any difference in the shades. It's really hard to swatch a loose powder, but this is Cle De Peau and this is Guerlain. The Guerlain light is deeper than the Cle De Peau light. The Cle De Peau light is like almost a pinky white powder. You can't really see them, but the Guerlain, it is slightly deeper. It's slightly warmer. The Cle De Peau is a very cool pinky white shade, and the Guerlain is like a warm yellowy beige shade, if that helps at all. Guerlain has 4 shades. They have a translucent, they have light, medium, and deep. So there are more shades in the Guerlain than the Cle De Peau. The Cle De Peau, you've got 2 options, light or light medium. However, like I said, I do believe it's going to be translucent enough to work for multiple skin tones. Will it work for somebody with deep skin? I don't know. If you have deep skin and you've tried the Cle De Peau powder, let me know if it works for you. That's one thing that I really hate to see from brands is when deeper skin tones are just left out entirely. Guerlain doesn't leave deeper skin tones out. So there's that. And let's talk about the price. The Cle De Peau is $125 and you get 0.84 ounces. The Guerlain is $95 and you get 1.2 ounces. So you get a lot more product in here and it is less expensive. The Guerlain has a much stronger scent. Like, it is heavily fragranced. I have mentioned that in every video where I have, you know, kind of talked about the Guerlain because I love it, but it is very strongly fragranced and it's a perfumey scent. But I like the powder enough that I overlook the scent. The Cle De Peau is scented as well, but it is a much softer scent, like much softer. Guerlain is made in France. The Cle De Peau is made in Japan. So which of these do I recommend? That is really, really hard for me to say because I love the Guerlain so much, but I think I might prefer the Cle De Peau on me. I know that's like, those are big words. I just feel like there is something about the Cle De Peau where it is just that ever so slightest bit more blurring on the skin, more smoothing on the skin. The Guerlain looks incredibly natural. Don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. They're just different. The Cle De Peau, I feel like I can rub it into my fingers and it kind of melts into a cream. The Guerlain just wants to kind of it just kind of wants to disappear. It wants to like float off into space. The best way that I can describe them is that the Guerlain is a more velvety finish and the Cle De Peau is more creamy finish. Those are the words that I keep coming back to, and those are like the only differences that I can find. The Guerlain might be better if you are oily and the Cle De Peau might be better if you're dry. Like, that's the impression that I'm getting. However, I am neither of those things. I'm just telling you based on my normal skin, this one feels a little bit drier. This one feels a little bit creamier. The Guerlain is so incredibly lightweight. It just, like I said, fluffs over the skin, evaporates into nothing, and you're set and your skin feels like velvet. The Cle De Peau kind of melts into the skin and gives you this creamy, smooth finish. I love them both. I really do. I think the Guerlain is a better value for what you get, and you have more shade options here. But this one does give you a slightly, ever so slightly smoother, creamier finish. So I hope that that was helpful. Having said all of that about the Cle De Peau, I am not disappointed in the Guerlain one bit. It is one of my favorite powders and it does do something special on the skin. I'm not going to stop using it. I also love this one. This is just like something different. It's a completely different formula, a completely different feel, a completely different texture, but the look on the face is very, very similar between these two. They're both just flawless on the skin. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I would love it so much if you did. I will see you soon in another video, and until then, please take care of yourselves. Bye.